Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something absolutely chilling. We're going to break down a story that perfectly maps the intersection of human psychology and the supernatural. We're looking at a deeply disturbing narrative of familial jealousy that spirals into pure horror, and we'll be analyzing the exact mechanics of a curse known as kala tantra. We're going to see exactly how a perfectly happy family gets poisoned from the inside out, so let's just jump right in.
I want you to picture this. It's pitch black, pouring rain, and you're at the edge of an abandoned, ruined temple in a village. There's a woman sitting there in the dark, and she's chanting this exact mantra over and over. The happiness that burned me will now consume him. Around her, a black cloth, ashes, a burnt lemon, red thread, and actual strands of human hair. It's incredibly heavy stuff, but you really have to wonder what actually drives a normal person to such darkness. How on earth did it get to this point?
Part 1. The Seed of Jealousy. To really grasp how this curse takes root, we have to look at two totally different lives within the highly respected family of Dharmpal. He's got two sons, Ajay and Vijay. Now on one side you have Ajay. He is living the dream in the city, highly successful, but also incredibly generous. He's constantly sending money back to the village for repairs and even paying for his nephew's school fees. When he buys this massive new house, he moves his parents into these nice AC rooms and takes them to lavish hotels. On the flip side, you have Kavita. That's Vijay's wife, who stayed behind in the village. Outwardly, she's keeping up this perfect fake smile whenever Ajay and his wife Meera come to visit with gifts. But inwardly, she is literally burning with envy. She feels completely overlooked and is entirely convinced that Ajay's generosity is just this arrogant way of showing off.
This dynamic between the two brothers, the ultra-successful Ajay and the village-bound Vijay, was basically a pressure cooker. It created the absolute perfect breeding ground for Kavita's twisted perception of unfairness. She felt like her immediate family was being left in the dust, and that resentment just festered and festered into something wildly dangerous.
Which brings us to part 2, the beginning of dark magic.
Eventually, Kavita's jealousy hits a boiling point. She can't just sit back anymore. So she seeks out this old village woman who is widely feared for practicing the dark arts. What Kavita starts learning is a practice known as kala tantra. Now, for those of us familiar with the occult, you know this isn't just idly wishing someone ill. It's a dark, highly calculated practice. It involves the active, intentional manipulation of negative energies using very specific physical items, meticulous rituals, and sheer malicious intent to destroy a target. It really shows you how blinding jealousy can drive someone to do the unthinkable.
In her methodology, it was terrifyingly calculated. When Ajay and his wife came back to the village to visit, Kavita plastered on that fake smile and went straight to work. She didn't just cast a spell from a distance, she physically invaded his safe space. While he was sleeping, she actually cut strands of his hair. She hid a small cursed packet deep inside his wallet. She even went as far as mixing enchanted ash into a special kheer, a sweet rice pudding, and served it to him directly. Then, night after night, she dripped mustard oil onto his photograph while chanting her dark mantras. I mean, think about the sheer betrayal of trust there. It's chilling.
Part 3, Ajay's terrifying downfall.
So, the rituals are complete, and Ajay heads back to his city life, totally oblivious to the massive spiritual target on his back. And the impact? It's a rapid, systematic dismantling of his entire life. Literally within days, he starts having these unexplained bouts of intense rage, just lashing out at his wife Meera. Give it a few weeks, and his finances absolutely crumble. We're talking loyal customers vanishing, massive contracts dropping at the 11th hour, and bank loans defaulting. Fast forward a few months, and it starts attacking his body. He gets these severe, inexplicable fevers that leave doctors scratching their heads, and he starts hallucinating these terrifying dark shadows lingering near his wardrobe. This curse was precision engineered to destroy his mind, his wealth, and his health, layer by layer.
It all reached this horrific peak late one night. Meera wakes up and finds Ajay sitting bolt upright in bed, staring blankly at the wall. He's sleepwalking and he's pleading with these unseen entities, saying, "Don't call me, what have I done to you?" When his mother, Saroj, hears about this, she knows instantly this is absolutely not a medical issue.
Part 4. Swamiji and Liberation.
Saroj suddenly remembers these old village whispers about Kavita's mother, who allegedly used dark arts to control her in-laws years ago. Realizing history is repeating itself, she rushes Ajay to an ancient forest temple to get help from a revered spiritual healer, Swami Maharaj. Now, to break a curse this deeply entrenched, you can't just use good intentions, you need serious, powerful countermeasures. The Swami initiates a hava, a sacred fire ritual. He uses Ganga Jal, which is holy water, camphor, yellow mustard, and sacred ash. These aren't just random ingredients, they are highly specific spiritual tools designed to actively draw out and neutralize the malicious energy anchored to Ajay.
What happens next is a dramatic, terrifying climax. Ajay, who is normally a deeply religious guy, literally violently resists even stepping foot into the temple. Once they finally get him seated in front of the fire, the entity inside him just fights back hard. He actually tries to destroy the holy fire, growling, his eyes completely bloodshot. The whole temple is echoing with mantras, until Swami Maharaj grabs a handful of the sacred ash and throws it directly onto Ajay's head. Ajay lets out this piercing scream, his entire body stiffens, and he just collapses to the floor. When he finally opens his eyes, the dark entity has been forced out. He's breathing normally again for the first time in months.
Part 5. The Terrifying End. Ajay was finally free. But here's the thing about the mechanics of Kala Tantra. That kind of dark energy doesn't just evaporate. Before they left the temple, Swamiji gave them this incredibly ominous warning. The creator of the magic will face a bad end. Back in the village, the whole truth completely unravels. Vijay suspects his wife, corners Kavita, and forces her to swear on their own daughter's life. She breaks down and confesses to the whole shebang, the jealousy, the hair, the ashes, and the food. Vijay is so blinded by rage he almost attacks her, but Ajay, showing unbelievable grace after everything he's been through, stops his brother from crossing that line.
So, the family just packs their things and leaves for the city, completely abandoning Kavita in the village. And this is where karmic retribution kicks in. That malice she created, it turned completely inward. With her target gone, the dark entities she summoned had literally nowhere to go but back to their creator. She starts hearing the exact same whispers and seeing the exact same dark shadows she sent after Ajay. Just days later, the villagers break down her door. They find her dead, lying right next to the very tools of her own downfall, a black cloth and a burnt lemon.
Which leaves us with this really profound, lingering question. Is the end of jealousy and greed always destruction? Kavita let her resentment completely blind her to the love and support her family was offering, and she turned to a darkness that ultimately destroyed no one but herself. It is such a powerful reminder of how our darkest emotions, when we actually act on them, become our own absolute worst enemies. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope this deep dive into the mechanics of Kala Tantra gave you some fascinating insights. Until next time, stay curious.